Hello and welcome back to Growfund. In this video, we'll walk you through how to create a donation campaign in Growfund. We'll walk through every field in the campaign editor, explain the choices that you'll need to make, and go over a few best practices so your campaign looks robust and works smoothly for donors coming into your site. So before we start building our campaign, we need to make sure that a few things are ready. So obviously we've Growfund installed and activated over here. One more thing that we need to check before we start creating a campaign is we'll need to go to settings, into payment, and we need to make sure that we have at least one payment method set up and ready to use. So this could be PayPal or Stripe, or you can even opt for a manual or offline payment as well. So to start a campaign, we'll go to campaigns and click on new campaign. And this is Growfund's campaign builder. So first off, we have the basic tab. The basic tab is where you'll tell your campaign's story. We'll start off with a title. So we want to make a campaign to help build a community playground. That's the title of our campaign. Then you can also change or edit the URL of the campaign how you want. We're just going to keep it like this for now. And then comes the description. So the description section is a short, brief summary of what your campaign is exactly trying to do. So we'll add a description, and this will help users find your campaigns easier. After the description comes the story. Now this is the main explanation of your campaign. So here you would break down every aspect of your campaign, what you are aiming to do with the funds, how donors can help with the campaign, and what exactly are the funds going towards. So a pro tip would be to detail out every little aspect about your campaign in the story section. Once you've filled up the story, then you can move on to images. So if you upload images here, this will help visualize what your campaign is all about. This will help attract more donors to your campaign, and you can have multiple images here that will show up as a carousel on the front end of the campaign page. So let's go ahead and add some images. So once you add images, you can shift them around, and whichever one will be here is going to be the featured image. Now, scrolling back up to the top, on the right hand side, you'll see that you can add a video. So you can upload your own video, or you can add a URL from YouTube or Vimeo. This helps build trust about your campaign from donors. So let's go ahead and add a video. Here we have our video, and you can also add a thumbnail or replace the video if you want. Then you can toggle this on to feature your campaign, but we're not going to do that right now. Then you can add a category and a subcategory for your campaign. This will help index your campaign so users can filter out specific categories and find your campaign easier. So since it's a community playground building drive, we'll set the category to community and the subcategory for playground. Then you can set the launch date of your campaign. So we'll set a launch date, and we'll also need to set an end date. Now, donors will not be able to donate to your campaign till the campaign has launched, so be sure to keep that in mind. If you want your campaign to be live on the spot, then you need to make sure that your launch date is the same date as the day you're building the campaign. Then you need to set the location for your campaign. This will help donors feel more connected to your campaign. So if your campaign is from a specific city or state, donors from that state will be more inclined to donate to your campaign. Then you can set a tag, multiple tags if you want for the campaign, and you can also set a collaborator. So a collaborator would be another fundraiser who can apply to your site, or you can add a fundraiser account to your site. But since we have not done that and we're just making our very first campaign, we don't have a collaborator yet. So we'll move on to the next tab, which is goal. Now, the goal tab is to set the campaign goal. So let's go ahead and set our campaign goal, and we'll first need to decide what our goal type would be. So we can either have it be raised amount of money, donation numbers, or donor numbers. So we'll set the goal type to
raised amount. Also, let's go ahead and set a target goal for our campaign. So we'll set it to $25,000, and then we can decide what happens when the goal is reached. So if the goal is reached, we can either auto close the campaign. So let's say your goal is reached before the end of the campaign date. If you select auto close this campaign, then the campaign will stop receiving donations, or you can have it set to keep receiving donations even after the target goal has been reached. And this goal is visualized very nicely with a bar on the front end of the campaign, which we'll see in a little bit. So after that, we can have suggested amounts. So this would be multiple slabs that you can define that users can easily donate to. So you can have, let's say 3 tiers, $10, $50, and $100. And depending on how much donors want to donate, they can select a suggested amount. You can have the amount show only the amount, or have it show amount and description. So let's go ahead and add an amount. So once we've added an amount, you can see that we have an amount, $10, and we can encourage or notify users what this amount would directly go to. You can make this the default amount, but to understand better, let's go ahead and add a few other amount options. So with a few more options, now we can select any one of them as the default option. So the default option would mean that when users are donating, this would be the suggested donation amount because it's set as the default. And then users can obviously choose the other amounts if they want to donate that much. And lastly, we have a custom donation checkbox. So if you check this, then you can set a minimum donation amount and a maximum donation amount. So this would mean that users can donate outside of your suggested options as well. But if you have this disabled, then users can only donate according to the suggested amounts. So with that, we go to our next tab, which is the additional tab. Now, the additional tab only appears if you have tribute and funds activated from your settings. So let's go ahead and see how we can do that first. So before we exit our campaign builder anytime, for any reason, you want to hit the save as draft so that your building progress is saved. So let's go ahead, go back into settings. So within settings, we're going to go into the campaigns tab, and we'll scroll down to find these two settings turned off by default. So we'll toggle the tribute and the fund settings on. So what do these do? Tribute, as the name suggests, allows donors to make tribute donations for your campaign. And the fund is a very interesting functionality that Growfund has for campaigns. So once we've hit those, go back into the campaign, go back to the additions tab, and let's go ahead and set a tribute option. And then we'll explain how funds work. So for tribute, even if you've activated it from the settings, you can go ahead and disable it from each individual campaigns if you want. If you enable it, then you can also set if a tribute is optional or required. So we'll go ahead and set it to be optional. Then you add a tribute title. So the tribute title would let people understand what they can do with the tribute option, and then you can add tribute options. So these tribute options would be templates for people to donate with a tribute. Then donors can have a notification preference. So whoever they're tributing to, they can either get an e-card, a post mail, or both. And you can also let the donor decide how the notification would go to the tributed person. And lastly, we come to funds. So how do funds work, and what are funds? So donation mode lets you divide incoming donations into multiple funds, which is incredibly helpful when a single campaign supports more than one cause. For example, in this playground campaign, let's say you want to promote a greener environment. So you can create two separate funds, one for constructing the playground and another one for planting trees. Donors can then decide or choose exactly how they want their contribution to be distributed. So some might put their full donation into the playground fund, while others may split their amount between both funds. What makes this even more powerful is that these funds are not limited to one campaign. They can be reused in future campaigns as well. So if you later launch a dedicated tree plantation campaign, you can simply connect the existing tree fund to it. This helps keep your accounting clean and consistent across the entire site. But what does all this actually achieve for you as the admin or the fundraiser? Creating and allocating multiple funds allows you to manage several causes in a structured, transparent way. And as your fundraising site grows with more fundraisers, more campaigns, and more causes, funds can give you an organized system for maintaining clarity, tracking your funds, and handling finances for each individual initiative. And donors can also be more motivated to donate to a specific kind of fund within your campaign as well. So for the fund selection type, we can either have it to be fixed, which means that donors can only donate to the fund that you specify, or if you have multiple funds linked to one campaign, then donors will get to choose which fund they want to allocate their money to. But remember, at the end of the day, the donations that donors are giving will go to the campaign. It will just be segregated into the funds for your convenience as the admin. But where are we creating these funds? So if you go back to WordPress dashboard, you can see that there is a funds tab, and this tab appears only after funds have been activated in the settings, as we saw. So if you go to funds, you can then create different kinds of funds, as many as you want for your convenience. There is a general fund created by default, and then you can have your own individual funds created as well. Now, going back to the campaign builder, we'll let our donors choose which fund they want to donate to, and we will add the two funds that we had created. So we'll have a tree plantation fund and a community building fund. And with that, we can go to the next tab, which is the options tab. So the options tab has a donation confirmation message setup and a setup to add FAQs about your donation. So any burning questions that you think donors might have before they want to donate to your campaign, you can add all of these so donors have better clarity as they come into your campaign. So first of all, let's go ahead and set a donation confirmation message. So this message will be displayed to donors after they complete their donation. So you want to make sure that you appreciate and thank supporters and let them know what they can await with the campaign, how they can learn about progress, any bit of information that you want your donors to have, you can mention all of that here. So we've added a title and a description of our donation confirmation message saying that donors will receive a receipt through their email. Next, you come to FAQs. So let's go ahead and add a question. So let's say donors can have a question that where will the playground exactly be built? So you can add your answer here, specifying the location of the playground which the campaign is for. Hit save, and there you have it. You have an FAQ now. So we'll go ahead and add a few more FAQs to this campaign. So with that, we have a few FAQs that we think that donors might ask before they want to donate. And this would actually finish the setup of the campaign building process. But there's a few things in the backend that we'll also explore before we move on to see how this campaign looks. So we mentioned that donors will get a receipt confirming their donation. And a question might be that, can we edit this receipt or can we see this receipt? Well, yes, of course, Growfund lets you have granular control over all of your receipts. So we'll go back to the WordPress backend. And from here, we'll go back into settings. From settings, you can go to email and notification. And here you will find a lot of triggers for which an email will be sent by Growfund. So you have admin emails, you have fundraiser emails, and lastly, you also have donor emails. So donor emails consist of donor receipt, if a donation fails because of some payment gateway problem, new donor registration, and all kinds of updates regarding your campaigns as well. And you can edit each of these receipts separately. You can see the preview of the changes that you're going to be making here if you want to edit it. If you want to keep it as it is, then you can do that as well. Scrolling all the way to the top, you can also set a completely different default template. If you change the default template, then all of the emails will inherit that default template. So the default would no longer look like this. It would look like what you have set up for your campaigns. And don't worry if you've missed anything in the settings. We are going to have a separate video explaining all the tabs within Growfund's settings in the donation mode, so you'll have a better understanding of the intricacies of Growfund settings. So once you've set everything up, the last thing for us to do now is to publish our campaign. Now, before we publish, let's take a preview of what our campaign would look like on the front end. If we hit the preview button, we will see the front end view of our campaign. So here you can see our campaign title, our campaign description, and if you scroll down to the info tab, you will see the campaign story. Our video and our images are shown here as a carousel. You can also see a goals bar here, and you can also see a countdown showing how long this campaign will be active for. Clicking the Donate Now button will take donors to the checkout page. So let's go ahead and publish our campaign, and you'll see that you get a confirmation message saying our campaign is published. You can copy the link, or you can instantly share on socials from here. So after you've published the campaign, there will be a new option here. It'll say that the campaign is published, and if you want, you can manually end the campaign, or you can hide the campaign if you have any reason to change the visibility of the campaign. And there you have it, everyone. That was the rundown of how you can build a campaign with Growfund in the donation mode. We hope that this video helps you figure out how the campaign builder of Growfund really works. If you face any issues, be sure to let us know in the comments. And upcoming, we will have more videos on how the settings of Growfunds work for each of the specific modes. And we will also have a campaign building tutorial in rewards mode for Growfund. Thank you for watching, and happy fundraising, everyone.